What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go over my top 30 most anticipated games of 2025. Now, we're going to do things a little bit different this year. Number one, I want to lay down the groundwork, which is pretty much the game has to be at least somewhat confirmed to be coming out in 2025. Okay, so Hollow Knight, Wolf Among Us, Wolverine, things like that, Wonder Woman, all those games don't count. And if they do come out and we do like a halfway through the year type ranking video, I can always include them in. So these are games that are kind of locked into 2025. There's only one time I'm going to slightly break that, which we'll get to. And these are in no particular order. What I will do is if you stay to the very end of the video, I'll give you guys my top 5 in order. Okay, so let's just go through 30 games that I think could be good or could be interesting for some reason. And then at the very end, I'll give you my 1 through 5 in actual order of my most anticipated. Okay, let's start. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Let's just do the first big game, in my opinion, that comes out in 2025. I think this could be gigantic. I'm actually behind the scenes playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 again. I'm making it much further than I did the first time, and I'm actually really liking it. I'll do a retrospective on it on Back to the Past, my third channel, but I feel they're going to knock it out of the park. I really do. You know, I've talked about it a few times on the channel. There's just a lot of good signs, and it's really, for me, can I get into it and stay into it, right? Like, are the mechanics going to kick me out? You know, like the first game, I truly hate the lock picking. I also hate a couple other mechanics, I'd say, about the game, and you know, some of those mechanics are being eased up on in the second one. Funny enough, I actually don't mind the combat whatsoever, so that's something I don't really care if they make easier or not. So that's the main thing for me. I think this could be like a top 5 game of the year type game at the end of the day. It's just, can it hold me in my type of play style, I guess. Okay, next up is Assassin's Creed. For right now, we're kind of going in like release order, and then we're going to go through games that are coming out in 2025 but don't have a date. Assassin's Creed I wanted to put here because I still do think it could technically go either way, and it's definitely interesting. Like, Assassin's Creed coming out is going to be an event, whether you like it or not, whether you're into it, whether you hate it. I actually think it's going to be an event for everybody, and honestly, I want to give it a chance. You know, I've talked about it before, the Odysseys and Valhallas of the world, I've never really connected with. My wife has actually played those games more than I did. I liked Mirage. I liked Origins. I thought those were good games. So, I don't know. Assassin's Creed, you know, for all of the drama and controversy and all that stuff that's come out on it, for me, it's just like this newer era Assassin's Creed has never really connected with me, so I can't be a super big part of it. I can't be like super like detracting against it. It's like, I don't know, they just have never really caught on, but I think it is going to be a big game for one reason or another. Avowed is next up, which I think comes out like 3 days after Assassin's Creed. Avowed is one that I'm pretty excited for. I believe in Obsidian. I want it to be good. Obviously, you have another game from them in the Outer Worlds 2 coming out that's also on this list. I don't know. There's been a lot of showing of this game. Like, we've seen quite a bit, and I feel like people can kind of make up their minds or not based off of what we've seen. There's been like 2 or 3 like layers of previews that people have done on it, and we've also just seen like a ton of actual gameplay. So I kind of feel like you're into it or you're not. It's okay, you know, either way. But I feel like this game is kind of what it is. I'm expecting it to take up some of my time, be transported somewhere else, and hopefully enjoy it. I hope it's a good one. And then I actually think on the same day is Lost Records Bloom and Rage. This is the return for Don't Nod, you know, to the Life is Strange type format, very Life is Strange-y anyway, in terms of, you know, kind of the visuals and even, I would say, even the mechanics of like traveling, time, picture taking, all that kind of stuff. Look, I want this game to be good. I think this game can be, you know, I want to say a return to form, but to be honest with you, I just said Banisher's Ghost of New Eden is my like 3rd favorite game of 2024. I think they kind of are back. It's just that people don't really care or don't really know or just don't buy their games anymore. Whatever the situation may be, they're a solid developer. They make some good games. They make some great games. They make some fine games. I think Lost Records is probably going to be like an above average game. We'll see, but it's, you know, can it be for people that played Double Exposure that didn't like it? Can it be like a return to form for that type of style? It could be. And, you know, I think that would get people pretty darn excited. Then you have Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Way too long of a title, but it's the return of Majima, an entire freaking game to the guy. How can you say no? This game just looks awesome. It really, I mean, it's gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be a little bit the same. Hopefully, you know, for me, it can be the same in a lot of like the mechanics, gameplay, all that jazz. I just want them to tell like a pretty interesting story with this guy. You know, he had an amazing story in Yakuza 0. You know, he's got good stories here and there, but you as Yakuza and then Like a Dragon has progressed, he's definitely been put more on the sidelines. I just want something really in-depth for, Goro Majima. That's really all I want, and this game hopefully can give it to me. Not much more to be said. It's not in my top 5. Let me double check. It's not in my top 5, but it's probably my top 10, to be honest with you. I'm just really excited to get to play as him and to have an entire game dedicated to him. And then actually ending February, you have the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection. I thought I would put this on, thinking 30 games. I think I wrote down, by the way, like 40 games, and then I kind of like left 10 on the table. Yu-Gi-Oh! I just think it's kind of cool that they're doing it. There's tons of potential to do more. They've done a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, handheld, console, etc. This is mainly like the Game Boy kind of era handheld, games, and not a ton of amazing ones. And I feel like I've only played 1 or 2 of them, so I'm excited. I'm excited to have it, and it's also something that I think it comes out on PC and Switch. Switch is physical. I think it's a game I'm gonna get it. You gotta get physical. I just feel like it's a game that's gonna have some value in that department at some point. And again, hopefully it can convince them to do more Yu-Gi-Oh stuff down the line, whether it's remaking, remastering, collection, stuff like that. I think it's for a good cause, basically. Split Fiction is another one. This is obviously from Joseph Fares, who did It Takes Two, A Way Out. Freaking love it. This will come back because I guess I'll spoil a little bit. This is in my top 5. It looks so good. It really does. I don't know. I'm just super excited. I love A Way Out. I think that's a great game. It borrows a lot of stuff from other games, but for what it is, I think it's great. And then It Takes Two was really, really good. It was really diverse in terms of, mechanics and levels and just all sorts of stuff. And Split Fiction honestly looks like that kind of times 10. Just all of these different situations you're going to be put in. So I don't know. I said when it was shown at the Game Awards, the game looked phenomenal, and you're getting it in like 3 months, so it's kind of a win-win for me. But this is one of my most anticipated. Then I thought I would throw a little bone here. Technically, I could have said Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer 2 also comes out, but I actually did Bleach. I wrote down Bleach. I just feel, it's time. Bleach is commonly, at least, recently, you have the Dragon Ball Sparking Zeros, right? You did have Demon Slayer actually a few years ago. All of these anime games tend to revert to just those like 3D tournament style things, which I don't mind. I do think there's a lot more potential in that space that are just never given to these games for some reason. And now it's Bleach's turn. That's honestly, I just felt like, I'll probably get this game. It looks good. It also looks familiar in the ways that you would expect it to. But hopefully this can like do something for Bleach. Hopefully, I don't really know what it can do to like push anime stuff, right? Maybe it's like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero would have done that if anything, but hopefully it's a good one. Even if it's a little familiar in a lot of the mechanics, hopefully it's something a little bit new because it's Bleach. Next up is Borderlands 4. Now, we don't know much about Borderlands. So we're saying, okay, here's the thing, right? When it comes to Borderlands, when it comes to Gearbox, I think things can shift so quick. If we see this game, and like, to me it's the writing. I've said this for a long time. I'm not sick of the Borderlands formula. I like the gameplay in 3. The story and writing is bad. New Tales from the Borderlands is one of the worst games I've played in recent memory. The writing is horrific. I like Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I really like that game. Actually, I played the whole game with my wife. So I think the gameplay style still works. The cell shading stuff, the visual presentation still works. Those mechanics are still there and are still fine by me. It's just, okay, well, I can play the other games, right? Because they have similar stuff. Can you tell me a good story? Can you be just a little bit better, please, than what you've done the last, 5-6 years? Now, that's where this could really fall off of, a most anticipated, because they have not shown me in recent time they're capable of writing. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work, but I am excited for it, and I do want to get it, and I imagine it's even a game I could play with my wife, but I don't know. If the writing sucks, I guess the writing sucks. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is another one. I will spoil this one as well. This is on my top 5. This game just looks... This is another actually example of a game that looks kind of familiar but kind of new. It's going to have that Persona, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy inspiration. It looks beautiful. The plot to it, like just the kind of scenario that's going on, sounds really interesting. It's not going to be like a 60, 70 hour, long. They've talked about it. This is a smaller game. This is a game that they threw together and they want people to play it. And, it's not going to be 60, 70, 80 hours. So I'm happy about that. Actually, all of that stuff sounds good to me, right? A little twist on turn-based combat and that kind of reaction that you can do that things like Sea of Stars, dabbled in a little bit recently. I'm really excited for it. And again, like I said, this is a top 5 that we'll get to at the end of this video. Crimson Desert, had to write it down. I'm really excited, really excited. When I was making my top like 6, 7, 8, which I kind of wrote down, then I started eliminating them. I think Crimson Desert would probably be a top 10 game. It could also go either way, and I've talked about it before with Crimson Desert. Like, it might be a game that excels at 1 or 2 things. It might be a game that tries to do 10 things and doesn't do any of them all that well, kind of like an average thing. Or maybe it's just like really good across the board. I think there's a lot of potential with Crimson Desert, and it's probably, well, actually it is. I think they confirm, right? It's like a fall 2025 game, so you're not getting this thing October, November, December. There's still time, I think, to iron things out and really see if we can predict what will do well, like what mechanics are going to be good in this game and what won't. Okay, Death Stranding 2, had to write that one down. Death Stranding 1 is an interesting game. It's a game that I played quite a bit of, but I did not ever beat Death Stranding 1. So we got to go back. I'm going to go back over the summer, and I'm going to do a video on Back to the Past, my 3rd channel again. Lots of videos on that channel, by the way. Going to replay it, play it all the way through, really understand it, and hopefully be ready for Death Stranding 2. No, I mean, Hideo Kojima, Norman Reedus, it's a game I'm going to get. It's actually, I can't say it's like a top 10, maybe even a top 15 game. It's actually one of the more safe games where it's like, I might not even really jive with this type of game, but I'm going to get it anyway. But I'm not like, it's not a game I think about every day, but it's also a game that's not, if I were to rank these, this wouldn't be 30, 29, 28. This would be kind of in the middle. It's just that kind of game, I feel like, to me, I guess. Next up is Dispatch. Dispatch was that game shown at the Game Awards. I'll be playing it, so I don't have to explain it too much, but the game looks awesome. Game looks really, really good. And honestly, as time goes on, I think I wrote it in my top 8. I really do. So I eliminated it kind of early, so it maybe is like number 8, number 7, but it's a game that I really think could recapture that Telltale style type game that I'm sorely missing thanks to The Wolf Among Us 2. Okay, so I had to put that one there. Doom, The Dark Ages. You'll see this again. This is also in my top 5. We haven't seen too much, okay? It's like a 2.5-minute trailer, right? Some of it's gameplay, some of it's like transition cutscene stuff, but I have a lot of faith. This is a thing, right, where if as long as you have most of the people that made 2016 and Eternal, which is not a given, a lot of people move on, people retire, people swap studios, but if you can just keep the quality, or even if you drop back a little, okay? Because I think Doom Eternal is better than Doom 2016. I think they got better. Even if you drop back just a little bit, Doom 2016 is like a masterpiece, okay? So just make a game that's like a 9 out of 10. Even if it's a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10, that's fine. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Doom, this is one of the more safe, high up ones to me, and I could be very proven wrong, and I'd be very disappointed in that, but I am so excited for that one. Okay, next up is Fable. Let's actually just stick in the Xbox family there. This is one that, again, could also go either way. I'm excited for it. We also haven't seen we've seen next to nothing like in-game. And then thinking about, in the past what Fable was, which I do want to replay Fable 1 through 3. I don't know. Is it going to be like that? Probably not. It's probably going to... Well, I mean, you got to have some of the themes. You have to have some of the tone. You have to have some of the inspiration would probably be the right word, right? But at the same time, you just don't know. So this is one that I think could go either way. I have seen people that talk about this game as like one of their most anticipated, and that's cool. That's cool. It wouldn't be mine just because I just really don't know. Like, it could go either way. But it's a day one, especially with Game Pass. It'd be a day one get for me no matter what. FBC Firebreak, sticking in the F family. This is one I wanted to write down. I think about it could go so wrong. It could go so wrong. It could also be not popular whatsoever, and that is what I worry about, I guess, is that popularity. You think about Alan Wake 2. You think about Control. Control sold pretty fast and sold pretty well, but Alan Wake 2 is just the slow, grueling process of maybe like, a couple tens of thousands of units every month or two. I guess my point being, this is a game that's coming out on Game Pass, coming out on PS Plus, right? So it's kind of free across the board. I think they do make good gameplay games, along with many other things Remedy is good at. But can this game actually come together? Because it's the first one they've ever made like this. And ultimately, they can be as weird as they are, and I love that about them. But if this game comes out and it's so weird, the combat or the gameplay itself is good, but just nobody plays it, I just feel like it was a lot of wasted effort. And they might be looking for this game to do something in that kind of live service department, right? Which also kind of worries me. So if I were to rank these into 30, this would be bottom tier, but it could go either way again. Okay, now we get to the G's, so you might know what's coming. Ghost of Yotei, we'll start with that one. This is a top 5 game, just so we get there at the end of this video. We don't know, you don't know much about it, but no, I gotta trust Sucker Punch. And, well, you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm going to choose to do it. I don't know. Sucker Punch, I just feel like, is incredibly talented. Obviously made Sly Cooper back in the day, but Infamous. I mean, they have always been on a roll. Ghost of Tsushima has aged like fine wine. I'm going to be replaying Ghost of Tsushima this summer. Cannot wait. Cannot wait for this game. And this is I will say, okay, like Doom, it's kind of the same thing where it's like, just make a game that's about the same quality as Ghost of Tsushima. If it's slightly lower, it's still one of the better games of the year. If it's drastically lower, then yes, we're going to have a conversation. But if it's in the same realm of quality as Ghost, it's going to be one of the better games of the year, right? So that's what I'm hoping for. And the other G game is Grand Theft Auto 6. This, we'll get here. This is also in my top 5. This is a game that hopefully comes out in 2025. They say they are, so it makes my list. And if it doesn't come out in 2025, then we're going to have to talk about it again, in the very beginning of next year. But no, obviously, I think in a lot of ways this is going to change gaming. And I don't say that I do exaggerate. I do hyperboles, but I don't say it in that way. I really think a lot of the things in this game can push games and can push developers to even try to mimic it, which could help just the industry in general. I'm excited. I'm really excited to just see what they can do. See what they can do with pushing those kind of boundaries of gaming. That's honestly one of the biggest reasons why I'm excited for the game. Okay, I kind of forgot about this game, and I remembered it when I looked all these games up. Inzoi does come out next year. I don't know if it has a date, although it might have like an early access beta thing. I don't even know if it comes out fully, but enough of that. Inzoi looks really, really cool. There's a lot of creators that talk about it. There's a ton of gameplay out about it, so it's not hard to kind of know what it is. A pretty like super realistic version of The Sims. I've said it before, I think games like that need to be pushed. Really, all games need to be pushed, so you need to have competition. And in that life sim genre, there's next to nothing. It's just The Sims, and then we've had games be canceled in that genre. So we really need something, I think, to push it, to just provide a little bit of competition. You get better things when you have competition, and you have something else that can beat you. That's a very strong opinion that I have, and I will hold myself to it forever. So, no, I believe in this game. I think this game can be really good. And I'll be there as long as my PC can run it. It's still a pretty good PC, even like current time. It's a little old at this point, but Inzoi looks like it's running on like the greatest thing of all time. So we'll see if my PC can actually handle it. Little Nightmares 3, little uncertainty because they're switching developers now. It's Supermassive, but Supermassive I think helped with the second game. I love 1 and 2. I think they're fantastic games. I don't even know if it takes all that much to make a good Little Nightmares game. I don't say that as like a knock on or anything. I mean, I guess there is some really fine craftsmanship that kind of goes on with story and themes and just, I don't know, some of the creations of these enemies and stuff. So there is definitely stuff to it, but, it's like 3, 4, 5 hours long. They're not like 50-hour games. So hopefully Supermassive can do it. It looks good so far. Hopefully it comes out first half of the year. I'm pretty pumped for it. Let's stick with the L's. Lost Soul aside, if this game comes out in 25, I know they said it, but I think they might have said they're going to come out in a past year as well. So if this game comes out, it would be one of my most anticipated. Again, things can go kind of either way, but if they can capture that Final Fantasy feel, it's one thing to capture with gameplay, and I actually kind of feel quite good about the potential of like the gameplay. It's the story, it's the characters, starting from one guy, kind of growing as time goes on. 9 years ago, 10 years by the time the game comes out. We'll see. This is a game that I've said before. I think it could excel at like 1 or 2 things, just like I said earlier, like with Crimson Desert. It might, and I think it's more realistic actually that it would excel at 1 or 2 things and then be like mediocre across the board besides it. Kind of feel like that's what's going to happen, but you never know, and that's the exciting thing with games like that. Okay, the M's. There's actually 4 or 5 M's. There's quite a bit. Mafia, the Old Country. This one was in my top 5. Looking at it now, This one was in my top 8, okay, and I crossed it off, so it's probably 876, somewhere in that range. I'm excited. I really am, and I'm excited for it to be a little bit different. You know, I made a video back when they showed it at the Game Awards, and they talked about like a more linear style. I don't expect this big like GTA 6 type thing, and I kind of get more excited for that than maybe you would think I would. But no, I'm excited. I'm really pumped to go back into Mafia. They've made some fantastic games before, and they've made some, you know, kind of okay games before. So hopefully this is a return to form. Next up, sticking with M's, is Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra. I wanted this, and this is another top 8. I think I wrote this in my top 8. I want to put this in my top 5, okay? Because I want to believe in Amy Hennig. I want to believe in just the game itself. The thing is, when you show nothing, you know, like, again, like, honestly, the potential is there. The potential gets it probably into the top 8 by itself, but then, like, we haven't seen it. And I know people are honestly pretty worried that it could be like a walking sim game, and then, like, you see how great the visuals look, but, like, do you just walk the rest of the game? I cannot sit here and look at you and tell you with a straight face that I believe that, and I hope I'm right. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not right, then this game shoots down so quickly, because you think of Amy Hennig, you think of Uncharted, you think about what she was gonna do with Star Wars, with EA, like, it's that feel. You know what I mean? Like, that's the type of games that she makes, and, you know, it's not like she's pigeonholed or anything, but that's what she does. So I expect Marvel 1943 to, like, have legitimate... You think about Uncharted, like, back in the heyday, Uncharted 2, 3, right? Incredible gameplay, incredible sequences that were then tied into the gameplay, and then really great characters, really great story, really great emotions. So it's like, she does it all. So that's what I'm hoping that this game has. If it does, it's a Game of the Year contender. If it's a walking sim with just great cutscenes, it falls. It falls quite a bit. But I can't imagine the game is like that. I don't know. That would be such a crazy departure from what she has done for, like, 30, go back to Legacy of Kain even, right? 30 years of doing this kind of stuff, and then it's suddenly going to change. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake is next up. This is actually one of them. I wouldn't put it in my top 8, maybe my top 10, maybe like 11, 12. I'm really excited. I have a lot of confidence, especially coming, well, not even really, especially after, like, Silent Hill 2 established, like, okay, Bloober Team kind of knows what they're doing. Did Konami, like, are they on the ball with their greatest franchises, right? I guess that's why you're a little bit more confident now, where it's like, okay, if Metal Gear Solid 3 like hits it out of the park, then okay, we can talk about, I mean, we are doing new Silent Hill games, we can talk about maybe new Metal Gear games. I know that's a touchy subject, but maybe we can talk about it. Castlevania, can you please remake Symphony of the Night? Like, can we do stuff with that franchise? I don't know. I feel good about it. And also Metal Gear 3 is like a fantastic game, just like Silent Hill 2 is a fantastic game. Now I have a Nintendo game, which might surprise you, but I actually have another one that's going to break my rule a little bit as we go. But I did write Metroid Prime 4. Now, in my top 40, I do have Pokemon. I do have the Professor Layton game. Okay, so I am excited for the Switch 2. I'm excited for their games. We'll talk about that at the very end of this video. But I'm really excited for Metroid. Maybe it makes me not really a Metroid fan when I say Metroid Dread is probably my favorite of the franchise. Obviously a little bit different than the other ones, but I don't know, it's kind of like a spectacle in and of itself that we're getting the game after just so freaking long. But also, you know, I think it will be tied to the Switch 2, all that jazz. And I don't know, Nintendo makes very safe, amazing games. Like, you know, they're people talk about the Xbox tax and all this stuff. Oh, journalists kiss up to PlayStation. Nintendo exclusives generally get between 8 and 10. Like, that's kind of and I think they do it generally through just high quality. There might be a Nintendo reverse tax that happens too, but no, I do think they make consistently really, really great games. Okay, the final M is Mixtape. This is the game that was shown off at the Xbox event back in June. Don't know much about it. I mean, they kind of set, I would say, the tone, and the visual style was definitely shown. We don't know much more than that, but I don't know. I like the idea quite a bit of like a road trip type thing. It's different. Again, visual, everything about this game is different. You know, I wrote South of Midnight in the top 40, but it didn't make it to the top 30. That gives me similar vibes where it's like potential, you know, it's doing something a little against the grain, and that kind of makes it stand out a little bit more. Smashing Pumpkins are in Mixtape. They're my favorite band of all time, so that doesn't hurt the game, and that's pretty much it. I definitely will play this game day one. The Outer Worlds 2, we talked about it a little bit when we talked about Avowed. I actually did not get into The Outer Worlds 1 as much as you would think I would, and as much as I would think I would, but no, I want to replay the first game. And even though I didn't get into The Outer Worlds 1 as much as I thought I would, the New Vegas Bloodline, I think, is still with it, and I don't know, I just feel pretty darn... I like the, I don't know, just different kind of tone that, I mean, you look at the trailer, they showed the Game Awards and stuff. It's a further out game. I think it'll come more into scope, as we hit, June, July, August, but I am excited for it. Okay, final three. We have the SpongeBob game. I wanted to just give this, not even an honorable mention, this would be in my top 30. Potential alone, guys, potential alone. There's nothing. Like, we don't even know what it is. It's just that it's a new SpongeBob game. Whether it's a remake, whether it's a brand new one, I like them. I think they're a lot of fun. I don't know. There's a connection with me and my daughter there, but I think the Cosmic Shake is just a solid game. Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated was a fantastic game. The original Battle for Bikini Bottom too. So I don't know. I think they do some really good work. If it's a remake, it's a remake. If it's a new game, it's a new game. Okay, second to last, Trails in the Sky, the first chapter. This is that remake of the first one. I've had numerous people tell me to get into this franchise. I've seen numerous people play this franchise. I got to get in. There's got to be some point where the door is cracked open and I can kind of force myself in. This is probably it, right? This is, the first in terms of when they made it. Don't know chronologically in like the lore and stuff if it's first. I don't think it is, but I don't know that for sure. But this is a good chance to jump in. Visual style has been enhanced. Mechanics of combat. It looks really freaking good, and it's a game that I definitely want, and I think this is the opportunity to get into the franchise. Okay, final, and this is where I break my rule. I saved it to the end. I wrote a Mario game. So what I'm saying here, okay, is I don't care what it is. I don't care. I mean, here's what I think, right? The Nintendo Switch 2 is going to get announced, and then you're going to get a 3D Mario game like Odyssey, Galaxy, back in the day. You're going to get that, and you might actually get a Mario Kart 9 as well. Now, either one of those would make my top 30, okay? If it's a new 3D Mario game, that would make my top 30. If it's Mario Kart 9, that probably makes my top 10. Okay, so that's just, I know I just said about guarantees in the beginning of the video. I'm going to break that rule just because it's a new console, and I do think Nintendo's holding so much back that they're going to announce like in the next 3 months. I thought, let's just throw it in there. Okay. To end the video, I want to give you guys my top 5. I wanted to go against the grain with number 1, but I ultimately didn't, so we'll get there in a second. Number 5 is Expedition 33. Number 4 is Split Fiction. Number 3 is Ghost of Yotei. Number 2 is Doom: The Dark Ages. And number 1 is GTA 6. I didn't want to do GTA 6 at number 1 just because I felt that was a little cliche, but to be honest with you, I don't know. I'm so excited for Doom. I'm so excited for Ghost of Yotei, but GTA 6 is like a movement. It's like a thing, and I don't know, you get those a little bit with the other games, but I don't know, and I am excited. It's not just that it's so big and that it's a movement, and I want to like ride the hype train and stuff. I mean, am I going to do some of that stuff? Whatever, sure. But ultimately, like, I do think it's going to push things. I do think it can be a very special game. Some GTA games are games I look back. GTA 4 is a game I look back on quite fondly as well as a really phenomenal game. I don't actually think I look back at 5 like that, by the way, but I do look at 4 like that. So I don't know. That one's really exciting. Doom and Ghost. Those ones were close, but I feel it in my heart. Like, I'm genuinely really, really excited for Doom: The Dark Ages, so I want to put that there. There's my top 5. We'll see what happens as the year goes. Probably around end of June, we will do another ranking, and we'll just do the second half of the year, okay? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.